Australia has a beautiful landscape. Now, saying that, there are also housed the most deadliest animals, like the blue ring octopus or the Frankenstein serial killer. Today, we talk about Paul Charles Denier.
Ladies and gentlemen of all ages, boys and girls, thank you for tuning in to yet another episode of Angry Meat Production. We appreciate you coming in and letting us be a part of your lives week in and week out. We hope to do our best to present you with something that your eardrums delight in. Whether you're looking at us on YouTube or Rumble, or listening to us on Spotify, Google, or Anchor, or any of the other podcast services that we are currently on or trying to get on. We thank you. And if you don't mind, at the end of every episode, stop by, leave us a comment, leave us a like. If it asks for 5 stars, we'll take 5 stars, even if you don't like us. 5 stars are what it's all about. With that being said, we hope you enjoy our attempt to make our advocation our vocation. Ladies and gentlemen, let the games begin.
Welcome, angry, faithful. Today on Psychos and Sociopaths, we're going down under with Paul Denier. Now, before I go about this business of this podcast, I would like to say thank you for all the subscribers that we got. We only got like 103 on YouTube and some on the other platforms and everything. Thank you all for listening, and thank you all for subscribing to us. I do this as spare time. I love doing it, getting information out there. But like Nerd Sports, we do sports shows and everything, and we also do kind of news-ish, maybe about 15 minutes of news, and then we just talk nerd stuff for the remainder of the show, which ends up being an hour. But thank you all for listening, and thank you for being part of this little show. So let's begin. Denier was born in as Paul Charles Denier on April 14th, 1972, to British immigrant parents, Anthony and Marie Denier, in Campbelltown, New South Wales. Man, that is a tongue twister. That's just one word. I don't know how the Aussies do it. An outer suburb of Sydney, Australia. Denier parents met and married in London in the early 1960s before migrating to Australia in 1965. Denier then reported had difficulty fitting in amongst his peers in the new town, which he was born in 1972. And he had, this is what kind of, I was reading this beforehand, trying to get it, a feel of this episode. And this right here has kind of got me weirded out. Denier was reporting how difficulty fitting in with his peers in the his new town. So either A, he was the offshoot when they actually moved to Australia is wrong, or he's lying. And most serial killers lie a lot. They even lie to themselves that they are the victim of this whole travesty and they shouldn't have been in jail. It happens all the time. It is weird. Most killers do that. Most. But I digress. Denier then reported having difficulties fitting into his new town, which led to problems with study and self-confidence that were worsened by the significant weight gain during his teen years. At the age of 11, he started doing weird stuff. He slashed his sissy's teddy bear's head off, and he cut the throat of a family cat before hanging it in a tree. At age 13, He was arrested and cautioned for stealing a car. I don't know, cautioned. I guess he didn't get arrested. He was just told not to steal cars, and it helped. In age 15, he was assaulting a fellow student after school. He had a hard time finding jobs. One job in particular, in February 1993, Denier commenced work. Was commissioned to work at a boat building firm in Seaford, named Pro Marine. Short time after he commenced his work, his colleagues would have observed him making knives at work. Denier employment was terminated after several months due to his failure to complete his assigned tasks. So really wasn't into working. His first actual crime and arrest was Dwyer acquire. Sorry. The first known incident attributed to Dwyer occurred on February 1993 when Don Vane's Claude Street unit in Seaford was broken into. After an anonymous threatening call, Vanes was fearful for being alone. Vanes asked her boyfriend to take her and her newborn baby out while he delivered pizzas. After being out approximately an hour, Vans returned to her unit or home with her boyfriend after seeing blood on the floor and that one of the cats was dead. Police were called. The police officer arrived at the scene, discovered that the cat was slaughtered with its intels slewed across the floor and its eyes removed. A pornographic images have been placed on the body of the cat. Written in the cat's blood above the stove was words, "Donna, you're dead." In the bathroom, police found Vane's two other kittens, also slaughtered with their throat cut, floating in the bath. Shaving cream had been sprayed over the mirror in the bedroom, and more pornographic images have been placed over the wardrobe. These images have been slashed as of the furniture in the home. The intruder had also placed pornographic images, which had been slashed inside the crib of Vane's baby. Unwilling to stay at the unit, which no surprise if that happened to me, I would do a whole clearing of the apartment and call the police and move somewhere else, maybe at a distance. She stayed in with her sister, who was living in the same apartment next to Denier, and whose neighbor was also recently vandalized. After Dwyer subsequently arrest, he admitted to the police he was responsible for the break-in, vandalism, and the murdering of Van's cats. Denier also told police that if she was there, he would have murdered her also. So she took the wise idea, and if she felt uncomfortable, she left and basically saved her own life and possibly the life of a kid. Who knows? But good on you. The first actual murder victim was an 18-year-old Elizabeth Stevens, who had come to Melbourne from Tasmania in January 1993 to study at the Taffy Frankston. Taffy Frankston is a technical institute. Basically, it gets you ready for the workforce, like information technologies. What here in the United States we would probably call like a call center. Hospitality, arts, trades, and businesses. So they can get ready for, the business schools or not business schools, but working in a business and whatnot. She moved to Melbourne she moved to Melbourne to study in order to join the armed forces. At approximately 7 p.m. on the event of June 11th, 1993. Stevens lied got on a bus to Cartborn Road, the closest stop to the home she was residing in Patterson Avenue, in Longwilling. Yeah, it's a suburb of Melbourne, Victoria, Australia. With her aunt and uncle. She had been living with her relatives for 6 months. As she turned to Patterson Avenue, she was grabbed from behind and threatened with what looked like a gun. Stevens screamed. However, her screams were not heard by anyone due to the heavy rain and wind. Stevens was told, "Shut up, or I'll blow your head off," and then escorted down Patterson Avenue. Her assailant held her hand so she was not to draw suspicion. Several witnesses had seen them walking past and assumed they were a couple. The pair arrived at Lloyd Park Reserve. Stevens was first sexually proposed. Proposed? What?
Propositioned.
Oh, she was first sexually propositioned by being asked, "Do you want to fuck?" Then, well, I won't rape you or anything. Stevens was strangled, stabbed, and her throat cut. That is really weird. That okay. Her killer then stopped. Was then okay. Her killer stomped viciously on her face, breaking several of her facial bones and dragging her lifeless body across the blackberry bushes at the short distance to curve the flow of water. She suffered several post-mortem injuries, being stabbed and slashed across the torso. Stevens had been left a note that morning for her relatives, stating she would be studying at either the Taffy. Sorry, no, I'm getting off topic.
TAFE.
TAFE. I guess just TAFE. Or City Library, and would be home at 8 p.m. When Stevens failed to arrive home, her relatives initially thought she might simply be running late. However, about 10:30, her uncle commenced driving around the area searching for her. The police were notified soon after and became concerned for Stevens after being seeing the note she had written. Her body was discovered about 5 p.m. the following day by a man collecting pine branches. Stephen was killed only 250 meters from her home. At a postmortem, the examination forensics noticed that periodic hemorrhaging, small injuries dotted her eyes and skin that indicated Stevens had been strangled. Cuts and abrasions on her face were obscured. Pathologist concluded that there was option, in their opinion, the cause of death was asphyxiation of blood and hindering of the stab from the stab wounds to the neck in a woman whose neck has been compressed. So basically, she was choked. An extensive search was undertaken in the area, both where her body was located in the surrounding streets. A bag with books and documents with the name Stevens was discovered, as was the blade of a knife. Every resident in the local vicinity was spoken to. Police rode the local bus to see if anybody aboard recognized Stephen. Investigators never discovered any solid leads on Stephen's discovery and clues to her murder. Next, the abduction of Rosa Toth. A month later, on Tuesday, July 8th, 41-year-old Rosa Toth aligned at Seaford railway station and headed north along Railway Pride on her way home. Around 5:50 p.m., as she was walking past the Stanford North Reserve, she noticed a man luring near the toilet block. What's a toilet block? Okay, I'm curious right now. I'm sorry, folks. I know I'm going to continue this, but I'm curious, just curious. What is a toilet block? The toilet block. Come on. The toilet block. I don't get his. That's weird. Okay, carry on. And was attacked shortly after passing him. I guess it's a toilet, like what we call a porta potty. So I guess that's what it is. And an attack shortly after using him. Toth was dragged into the park, but broke free after a denier held a fake gun to her head and she pretended to submit. Shaken and with light injuries, she ran back to the road, stopping a car, and was assisted by the driver back to her house. Now, the murder of Deborah Fram. That same night, the second murder victim, 20-year-old Deborah Fram, who lived near Nekinook. It's Nekinook.
Kananook.
Kananook. Okay. Kananook Station in Seaford was abducted in her car in the early evening. She was left after she had left her 12-day-old son at home with a male friend when she went out 7 p.m. on a short trip to buy some milk and for an omelet dinner. At 8 p.m. when she still had not returned, he called her boyfriend, the police at the local hospital, seeking news of her Wells belt or possible accident. The friend and the boyfriend drove around trying to locate her, then reported her missing at Frankston Police Station. On the afternoon, July 12th, a farmer found Fam's partially covered body on Trevor Roads, in Canham Downs. Like Stevens, she had been strangled, savagely slashed in her throat cut. Now on the murder of Natalie Russell. July 30th, the third and final victim, 17-year-old schoolgirl Natalie Russell, was attacked while walking home from John Paul College. At that time, there was media speculation, highly public fears, and warning her from her school. Russell took her unusual shortcut home to Frankston North via the fence walkway, now called Nat's Track, in her memory. Oh, okay. Which passed between two golf courses on Sky Road. At 8 p.m., Russell was reported missing from Frankston Police Station. The police searched soon. The police found her body. She had been dragged from the path through a large hole in the wire fence into the adjacent shrub. Damn it. Almost good. She had died in a similar manner of the others, but during the attack, she had put up a considerable fight, which assisted investigators due to DNA evidence finally being available at the scene. Now, during the investigation, police involved with the case after the incidents, deniers at denier's block of units, I guess apartment buildings, where the first slasher break-in occurred. And at Vane's unit in February 1993, the murder of Stevens was the first instance to attract a large investigation, as did the disappearance of Fram. When a search was organized, the scuba divers examined Kagnook Creek. There we go. Got it. No extensive forensic evidence was found at the Stevens scene, and no witnesses came forward. With Fam again, no for back park. But witnesses later recall her car, a gray Nassus Pulsar. Ooh, what's that? Nassus Blue Bar Symphony in Japan's market. Okay. Had been seen driving erratically and flashing its high beam lights. Her car was located by police the next day at a nearby Madden Street. The forensics found traces of Fram's blood inside, along with a new dent in the front, and the driver's seat pushed back. Denier later explained how at the milk bar, there's a milk bar. Fram had left her car unlocked, and he had climbed into the back seat and threatened her with a gun shortly after she drove from the store. I'm sorry. The whole milk bar thing has me. I mean, we have like cereal bars in here in Wichita Falls, but never a milk bar. Never thought about a milk bar. Might be a new thing to have. After the second attack with Thrott's description, she described her attacker to be 18 to 20 years old, 180 centimeters tall. What is 100 centimeters tall in real height? We're going to go ahead and find out. Uh, 5'9". With a round face and blue eyes. Police drew up profiles of suspects: a male, likely unemployed or with metal job, likely a local resident, age 18 to 24, average looking and living alone. Leading up to the murders of Natalie Russell, investigators were in process of door knocking 4,700 homes in Frankston, codename Operation Pulsar. The door knock was at the time the largest door knock ever conducted in Victoria police. I guess it's they were going door to door. Door knock. Okay. Sorry. I know if anybody in Australia hates me now, you can fully on hate me. The Russells attacked the Russell pack provided police with breakthrough they needed. At 2:30 p.m., a postal worker saw a rusty yellow Toyota Corolla without number plates parked near Nat's track on Sky Road, with a man using binoculars acting suspicious inside. As she stopped at a house to call police, she noticed Russell approached the track alone, observed by a suspicious man who then ran up the track. Police responded, noted the registration label number, investigated at the nearby house, but soon had to leave to attend other calls before returning to the man. Later, forensic evidence of the walkway revealed three holes cut in the fence with the same tool, with blood traces on one, alongside skin and hair traces on Russell, but not belonging to the victim. Police also informed investigators of the registration detail, which quickly traced the car back to Paul Charles Denier. Detectives visited his small unit at 186 Frankston Dankton Road, Sheford, the afternoon of July 31st. A unit shared with Denier's girlfriend and next door to Donna Vaughn's sister. While his movements were being checked, he admitted of being in the vicinity of Fram and Russell's Morin at the time. Denier was taken in to Frankston Police Station, and his video interview commenced at 9:20 p.m. He was unable to explain the cuts and scratches the officers noticed, and also being viciously attacked. He also he admitted the Stevens's attack. He agreed to have his DNA checked, and early August 1st, suspected that the police had DNA evidence admitting to the murders, the Tross assault, and the slasher break-ins. Denier also told detectives that he had been stalking women in Frankston area for years, and that the motivation for the crimes was the desire to kill from his at the age of 14, a general hatred of girls and women. During his trial and imprisonment, Denier was charged with 3 murder counts and 1 abduction. Hold on. That math doesn't add down. Okay. He killed. I'm sorry. Elizabeth Stevens, Inductive Ross. Oh, okay. Deborah Pham, he killed, and Nate Russell's. I'm sorry. I just blanked out on the other ones. I, very sorry. Denier charged with 3 murder counts and 1 abduction charge, to which he later pleaded guilty and did not contest. Psychologists and sex examined Denier, noting a lack of emotion in regards to the crime, a single-minded desire to kill, an unusual readiness by which the victims were chosen, leading to the diagnosis of a sadistic personality disorder, but not legally insane. He found initial maltreatment of victims intensely gratifying, taking pleasure in tormenting, anguish, distress, and helplessness and suffering of the victims. In contrast to simple anger, the behavior of a sadistic personality is fully premeditated. I'm sorry, not permitted. Premeditated. God, I said the word and I was like, no, that's not definitely not right. He is not suddenly exploding with rage. The more aggressive he becomes, the more powerful he felt. This is Dr. Iran Jabin, Denier's treated forensic psychologist. During an examinations, he also admitted being influenced by the 1987 film Stepfather. And in the Stepfather was American psychological horror film, assuming serial killers who married a widow with teenage daughters and killing the family. They remade that. Sorry. On December 20th, 1993, after 4 days of the hearing, he was sentenced to Melbourne Supreme Court to 3 consecutive sentences of life imprisonment with no parole period. On December 31st, however, Denier lodged an appeal, which was heard on July 1994, granting him a non-parole period of 30 years until 2023. Deniers was sent initially to HM Prison Bar 1 and is currently at Port Phillips Prison. On January 9th, 2004, after 10 years in jail, Denier was subject of a 7:30 report titled Murderer Sex Change Request Sparks Rights Debates. In September 2004, news broke of a letter Denier had sent to his estranged brother, who he had accused in the trial of sexually abusing him as a child, and his sister-in-law, who had re-immigrated to the UK. In July 2012, Denier again came to the attention of the media over allegations of 4 rape conducted over the 6-year period, a 6-week period. In April 2013, the Herald Sun created a website with images of 14 letters written by Denier in 2003 and 2004 to another inmate titled The Paul Denier Letters. Which they didn't give any kind of, they just said that he did those. Well, I find funny, and people are probably going to hate me for this, is the next part, because his last name's Denier and he had gender identity. We'll get through that. According to the first of the Paul Denier letters, dated November 29th, 2003, Denier began identifying as a woman that same year. Denier had claimed that these feelings of gender dystopia, okay, are what led him to seek revenge against women by murdering them. In letter 6, dated February 4th, 2004, he wrote, I committed these disgusting crimes not because I ever hated womankind, but because I had never felt really as a male. Denier began wearing women's clothing and cosmetics in prison in defiance of prison orders. Medical specialists evaluated whether Snyder could receive a sex reassignment surgery and rejected the idea. Prisoners' support group said that he could not be anything but serious about his transition, given that it would entail personal risk. One victim's mother said Denier's transition made her and hers fell sick, calling it a stunt. Denier has since reverted to identifying as Paul. So he, anyways, in a bid for, in a bid for parole in 2023, Denier became eligible and applied for release on parole, but had his application denied by the Adult Parole Board of Victoria. The parole board notified the families of the victims, including Nathalie Russell's father's Brian and Deborah Foreman's son Jake. So that is it on this one. I know it's kind of a jobberish on that one. Sometimes I get stuff that is really breath. It can go flow. It has a flow, a good flow, and sometimes the writers of these articles are pretty much have a different style of writing, I guess you would say, and their writing isn't really working for me. And my dyslexia kicks in high gear, and luckily I can work through it at times. But on this one, I think he was sadistic beforehand. I don't know anything about. Let me go ahead and deep dive a little bit more on this. I know. Pull up the research beforehand and wouldn't have to worry about anything. But rejected his. I got that. I have it up. I was foreseeing. And yeah, he's not getting out. What's funny is there's a picture of him in custody, and he has pigtails, which is funny. But most of this stuff on here is just Denier expresses no remorse over the horrendous conduct that he did. And yeah, I'm not seeing anything that's news except for that first article. Let's see here. He is an ugly man, though. No, not seeing anything of note. Looking at the interview, and he is basically not even remotely emotional about the killings. So he was a shit pump. But anyways, like I said, thank you all for listening. Thank you all for watching. If you're watching on Spotify, Rumble, all of our places that we're at, hopefully we can comment or whatever on a thing. I actually do read the comments. I don't know what it is on like I mean, you could comment on this on our page on Instagram, try to get a hold of us, comment on us through there. I mean, very low under the radar as subscribers and everything like that. But if you know anything about the cases that we do go over, I do have one that I forgot to mention, and this is Heidi Littlefield one. The niece came out to us, and uh, this is what she said. This is my aunt. There was no signs that indicate any of this. She was a second mother to me after her sister, my mother, died. My cousin Logan, on the other hand, had always been in trouble since her teenage years. So, like I said, looks like a dude, so I guess it's nephew. So, anyways, thank you, YG Hydro, for commenting on that. If you want to comment more on it, or you want to help us revisit that case with Heidi Littlefield, come at me, bro. We'll talk. Anyways, thank you all for very much. Comment. Give us. I mean, I don't know if there's a lot of hate. I think I only had like one thumbs down on one episode, and that was the Mendez brothers. And we had the person that gave us a thumbs down, and she went through the case with the fine tooth comb, and it a lot of it made sense with the Mendez brothers. They still do a horrible act. Not going to just try that, but they gave pretty decent reasoning. So anyway, everyone, thank you very much for everybody. Love you guys. Later.